Yo, citations, what to do? Sadot the Gamer, all father, do-rag gang, know the vibes like a scribe. Let's get it. Happy Thursday, everybody. We are back for a very special live stream. Today is all about the future of Xbox. As previously revealed, after all those crazy rumors and leaks started coming out about certain exclusive Xbox games getting ported over, it resulted in Xbox officially saying, you know what? We're going to have a emergency, well, special edition podcast. And it's going to have everyone. Sarah, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty. They're all going to be there talking about the future of Xbox, what their business plans are going forward, to give us some clarity on exactly what is going on. Are they going to be porting any games over to PS5 and Switch? You know, which games are going to do that? What's their plan going forward? And all that good stuff. It's going to be dropping shortly, so we're going to watch and react, see what's going on. Xbox fans, please refrain from raging until we get some more information. What's up, Cap Tay, Sky Preach, Arctic, Draft, Unknown. What's up, Ace Boogie? We're streaming live on both YouTube and Twitch. Drop me a follow over on Twitch. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you can also support for free by becoming a Prime subscriber. Drop a sub on YouTube. It's free there. Appreciate everyone. Al coming through. What's up, my brother? Member for 16 months. He has earned his do-rag for sure. Appreciate you, my friend. How you doing? Hope everything is working out for you. Sky Preach, appreciate that support as well. Kitty, talking to you earlier. Appreciate you hanging out. Should be a very interesting stream. What's up, official Spider-Man with a name like that? Not surprised you're calling it mid-box. I believe the term is actually L-box. Did I see Man Web yet? I have not seen the greatest superhero movie of 2024 yet. I think I'm gonna watch it today. The only request is they keep Gears and Halo on Xbox. Everything else is fair game. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think certain games, yeah, would make sense to keep on Xbox. Others, like multiplayer stuff, I can definitely see why they would want to expand that to other platforms. But it could be good as long as they're still going to have Xbox systems. They should definitely at least have some exclusives. But for other stuff like Indiana Jones, Blade, that makes sense to be cross-platform. Even if it's like a timed exclusive of like a couple months. Yeah, that makes sense to have that on other platforms. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot to talk about. What's up, Treasure? You on Doom Eternal? Speaking of Man and Web, Cindy Sweeney from Euphoria is sexy. Oh, yeah. We know. Halo on a 5, let's go. Halo on a 5 would be insane. Like, that would be weird. Like, the game that basically launched Xbox coming on PS5 would be insane. I've never played Halo a day in my life. I've never played a second of Halo. Probably still won't, even when it comes to Xbox, but even if it comes to PlayStation, I probably still won't. I just never was interested in Halo. but the podcast will go up at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It'll be interesting. They definitely one thing they definitely need to be is very, very clear on exactly what's happening, because with all the rumors and everything, probably one of the worst things they could do is be like really vague and wishy-washy, like, oh, we'll see, this is open for like, don't do that. just tell people, look, this is the plan, this is what we're doing. This is if you're gonna have games getting ported over, these are the games, this is gonna be the philosophy. Don't be too vague, don't, if possible, avoid saying case by case basis at all costs. Just give the fans a very clear answer, because what you don't want is a bunch of uncertainty leading into all of your upcoming Xbox games. Like, people are just like, okay, should I buy an Xbox or should I just get a PlayStation and wait a couple months? Like, especially with all the rumors about the upcoming games in particular, is like, I know some people that were considering getting an Xbox for Indiana Jones, but if they're only going to have to wait a couple months, it's like, well, why am I getting an Xbox? I can just wait for it to come to PlayStation, So they should be very clear exactly what's going on. If I could have any superpower, I would want the power to give myself any superpower whenever I feel like it. Max Payne 3 needs a remaster. I miss Max Payne. That would be fun. And we know the whole reason for this whole thing is because exactly the Xbox units aren't moving like that. Just stick to your PC, because in time you get the games for PS5 too. That is the move. If you have a gaming PC, you're basically considered neutral ground. So you're going to get everything anyway. Like, you're going to get the Xbox games the same day that they hit Xbox. Sometimes you're going to get the PlayStation games when they launch the same day, like we saw with Helldivers 2. But usually it's like within a couple years. To switch to the 5, it's been way better than Xbox. How do you feel about Sony claiming the PS5 is already in the latter half of its life cycle? I don't know if they said that exactly, but the PlayStation 4, you had a halfway point reset, and then by the 8-year mark, around the 8-year mark, we were getting ready for the PS5. So it's 2020 now. It was 2020 when the PS5 launched. It's now 2024. We're due for like a PS5 Pro, and then they're going to be moving on to the PS6. So timeline's about right. The only downside is that the PS5, had that rough start, but that was because of the pandemic. Still sold incredibly well, even though people couldn't get access to it. So I'm sure they're satisfied with the sales. They've been crazy. What's my go-to power? Flying. Love to fly. But just for fun, just when I'm trying to do some fun. But practically, I want to first see into the future, so I can get the Powerball numbers, win in fantasy basketball and prize picks and all that stuff. then just sit back and chill. What's up, Trini Murray? 2013 when the 4 came out. 7 years in between. Yeah, so so they're they're on the right timeline then, for sure. Paying for the March 7th Spider-Man 2 New Game Plus update. What's up, Craig? Appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Spider-Man 2 update, but please don't have it on the same day as the Suicide Squad season 1. That's all I ask. Don't have it be the same day. That would be unfortunate. My video help you get over your dad's passing. You and your dad will watch your videos when a new one will come out. So some of you are one of the ones. I appreciate that, Cyber. Sorry for your loss. What's up, Panda Boy? Welcome over on the Twitch side. Now, realistically, I don't think it's going to be as bad as definitely not as bad as some of the Xbox people are saying. Like, people are their Xbox fans having full on meltdowns, like, oh, this is the end of the Xbox and all this other stuff. I don't think they're going to go crazy with the ports, but I'm definitely expecting, a shift in that direction, a significant shift in that direction. But it makes sense. It's for the best, and realistically, people really shouldn't be that upset. I mean, it's definitely a decisive blow to the console wars, which were ridiculous to begin with. Like, the idea of making the video game console you buy your entire personality was just weird to begin with. Like, literally, who cares? Who cares which plastic box you're playing your video games on? It doesn't matter. I don't care. I get a PlayStation because I like PlayStation. I don't care if other people are able to play the games. Xbox players shouldn't either. Like Invincible Season 2 was really good. Console wars are so effing goofy. Exactly. Like, come on. It's like, okay. It's silly. It's all silly. It's one great video games, no matter what system you play on. Exactly. Like, people who freak out when platform exclusives get ported over are like some of the worst people in gaming. Like, I remember there was this big backlash. Didn't last long, but when Sony first announced that Spider-Man PS4 was getting a PC port, there were just a bunch of weirdos that were just like, what? It's supposed to be exclusive. I'm like, bro, you got this game. You got this game like 3 years ago. Why do you care that PC players are going to get to enjoy it? Like, stop. Fortunately now, people have embraced it, probably because of how good those mods are, but it is weird. Like, certain gamers get really possessive and creepy about their platforms. It's like, you should, as a consumer, you should want as many people as possible to have as many great games as possible. Did you know that there is no PS5 games coming out next year? That's definitely not true. It's irrelevant that in the business of making money. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's another reason the console war stuff is so weird and just dumb. These are corporations. At the end of the day, their priority is making a profit so that they can take care of the shareholders, of course, and take care of themselves and their families, and of course having enough money to invest so they can keep growing the business. That's what it is. Microsoft has all the money in the world, which made the layoffs unfortunate. You said there's no PlayStation games coming next year. What is your source? And don't say trust me, bro, or you heard it in a dream, which I suspect is where you got it from. The more people playing by, the higher chances for a sequel. Sony says it where specifically does Sony say there will be no PlayStation games coming out next year for PS5? That was your original statement. There are no, so obviously right off the bat we know that's a lie. So because there are going to be cross-platform games coming out next year. So what you're trying to say is that there's going to be no exclusive PlayStation games coming out next year. Let's look this up. See where this came from. Where does he get this from? Okay, so what Sony actually said was they will not release any major existing PlayStation franchise games before April 2025. So what this person who like I told you has no idea what they're talking about, what they said was what he said was that there's going to be no PlayStation games in 2025. Then he clarified there will be no PlayStation exclusives in 2025. What actually was said by Sony is that there will be no major existing franchise games releasing before April 2025. That's what they actually said. So that means no God of War sequel, no Horizon sequel, Spider-Man 3 won't be there, no Last of Us 3 before April 2025. So that's why it's very important to not listen to people like that. Only listen to reliable sources who take the time and actually read their information. Obviously, he just said no more woke movie games, so obviously he's an Xbot, so his opinion is irrelevant anyway. But yeah, just in general, make sure when you hear some information on the internet, you fact check it and see where it was originally coming from. Because right now I'm seeing a headline from Polygon that says Sony won't release any major PS5 exclusives in 2024, which is obviously not true. There's literally a major PS5 exclusive coming out this month and another one coming out next month. So you gotta be really careful, especially with how people word things. because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So just be on the lookout for that. Context is king. So be careful, game 00345 on Twitch with spreading misinformation. Make sure that if you're going to make definitive statements, you actually bothered to fact check it before repeating it like it's definitely true. It's going to be weird seeing Master Chief join the PlayStation family. I wouldn't be surprised if Halo wasn't included in that, because that feels like a step. Gears, definitely, I could see that. I mean, and Jeff Grubb actually mentioned they were discussing Gears. Why salty? Oh, well, now I was gonna keep you around, trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're definitely a next spot, so off you go, Banhammer. You don't get to spread misinformation and be a brain dead fanboy. Goodbye. Sony should buy Halo. I don't think it's for sale. Pretty sure. That's like a thing that would happen if Microsoft like badly needed the money, which they don't. Microsoft has all of the money in the world, so that's definitely not a thing. I joined this issue because you wanted my take. Been a fan of yours for a while. Appreciate it. What was your reaction when you heard about Xbox games coming to PlayStation? I was relieved that the console wars were basically over, if those rumors were true. But also that was cool and made sense from like a business perspective. If Xbox's goal is ultimately just to be everywhere, and they know they're not going to win a battle of console sales, it makes sense for them to kind of transition to more of a third-party publisher, which would allow more people to have more access to games, which I always think is a good thing. I always think more gamers having access to games is great. Yeah, Starfield feels like it definitely should be, because I mean, Starfield was originally going to be on PS5, so that one just makes sense to be on both. What's up, Nava Flow? Odd time console wars are over, exactly. When y'all play, everyone wins. Exactly, I agree. I agree with that in general. Exclusives have their place, but I feel like I think it makes sense for certain games to just be accessible to everyone, especially multiplayer games. And I want to make sure that Xbox still sticks around as a major force in gaming, because what we don't want is a monopoly. Like, a big reason why PlayStation is as good as it is because Xbox was right there pushing them to do more. So as long as Xbox is there to keep PlayStation honest, I'm happy. If in the meantime, that means if Xbox is just going to be like, okay, well, now going forward, we're going to be sharing just more for PlayStation, but we're still all about the Xbox ecosystem, that's great. I don't want Xbox to just disappear, because if there's no competition, then Sony has no reason to innovate, no reason to listen to the players. I don't want that. Competition is a good thing for the consumer. Nintendo definitely needs to do more. Nintendo needs to definitely get out of the past and start embracing some cross-platform stuff. I mean, they're not obviously they're not incentivized to do it because they make so much money already. I mean, Switch has been a massive success for them. You know, the Wii U was not, but Switch, you know, they hit gold with that. So there's like, oh well, you know, we can just chill. But Tears of the Kingdom sold like 18 mil. You're trying to say hardware makes sense. The Game Pass is definitely here to stay, but they're definitely going to have to change up the model to make it more profitable, I think. We're only a few minutes away. Like how Sega pretty much died. I don't see. Well, unlike Sega, they don't have Microsoft money. So Xbox is not in any danger of going out like Sega did. Sega was a big publisher, but it wasn't a $1 trillion company. More platforms, more profit, more players. Xbox could make great games going forward. Making more profit means more investment in new games. Yeah, like certain games, I definitely would rather be cross-platform. Like Blade, I feel like Marvel games in general. I feel like licensed IP games should be cross-platform, like Star Wars, Marvel, and stuff like that. DC. I think those games should be cross-platform. So like Blade, Indiana Jones. But you know, certain stuff like Halo makes sense. You know, you can go either way. But I feel like with big multiplayer games, you might want to have that cross-platform. Maybe you have some exclusives like skins or whatever. You know, but basically treat it like Call of Duty. You know, put it on every platform, but have like timed exclusives for certain stuff. But Gears is the one thing that apparently was definitely being discussed as cross-platform along with Hi-Fi Rush. All right, still waiting for the podcast. Should go live any minute now. I'm just refreshing. All right, here we go. It is time. Phil Spencer and the whole crew are ready. Let me set the mood, get everything right. Updates on the Xbox business. sad people. All right. Get ready, chat. It is time. Size this up properly. All right. What do you got for us, Mr. Spencer? In crew. The future of Xbox. I can't wait.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard, now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware, too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox.
Some Activision Blizzard stuff?
Start,
okay.
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community.
Yep,
and that's
let's get it out the way.
Input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles.
4 games?
Just 4 games. Not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. Okay. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams.
Hi-Fi Rush
so I
is
won't
one.
be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Rush and Pentiment.
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today,
those are going to be 3 to 4.
It's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC,
Hi-Fi Rush.
You see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators maybe throw out Gears of War, trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these 4 specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games, that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest.
Definitely Hi-Fi Rush.
That's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with.
Sea of Thieves.
I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio.
State of Decay
and when we
would be
don't
sick.
damage Xbox, and we can grow
that's
our
a future
business
game now.
using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not.
But also take it as a signal.
Learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live
coming.
service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
Mm-hmm. And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform.
Physically. Oh, they're
Second,
not.
all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us.
And Samsung
as
Gaming
Phil
Hub.
mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox.
And PC.
And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today.
Diablo 4 Game Pass.
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience and the games that we build is widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy.
Don't people hate Diablo 4 now?
For me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get to play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy,
about to get that Xbox handheld
that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular.
Hopefully we don't need hardware one day.
Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community
we're just playing games out of the chip in our brain.
Is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years. And I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow?
More than 10,000 layoffs.
Some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves.
1,400 people they
fired. But in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so
unavoidable
great.
right now, though.
Think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware. We've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Palword. Palword was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success. And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business?
It's going to be one of those 4 games.
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technology technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. Slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're gonna support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility.
I want to be able to play Fable 2 whenever I want.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You will own nothing.
You know, when you play on Xbox,
we need that game preservation.
What we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. They've got Diablo expansion.
Don't care
They've
about
got
that.
Avowed, Ara,
Don't care about that.
the Indiana Jones game. And
I'm
there's
interested in
more in
that.
development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show.
Xbox June Showcase.
Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
So we got the June Showcase coming up. So we got a couple of showcases coming up. So that was the big Xbox address. I'm sure there are definitely some Xbox players raging right now, but I thought it was a good presentation. It's definitely going to make some people mad, some console warriors mad. We're getting four games coming over from Xbox to PlayStation. I have a very decent idea of which ones. Probably announce it at the June showcase around that time. And there's going to be the PlayStation showcase in May. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun back-to-back. You got the PlayStation showcase in May, June showcase for Xbox, and they're going to have a lot of stuff that they're going to have to be revealing. But they definitely, the thing that I think might cause some people, not only that we're getting 4 games ported over, but they left the door open for future games as well. You know, they said no to Starfield, no to Indiana Jones, but I mean, that's for now. You know, who knows if that'll change in the future. But based on how they explain the process, that basically puts every upcoming Xbox game on the table. Because it's like, okay, well, the game's been, they basically confirmed 4 games are getting ported over, and that they were going to embrace timed exclusives, where they'll be like, okay, this certain games will straight up just be like, oh, we're just going to straight up just make those multi-platform. But other games, okay, we'll drop it on Xbox and PC, and then after it's run its course, we'll then get to remonetize it by releasing it on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. So that puts, every upcoming Xbox game could end up on, sounds like it's going to potentially end up on PlayStation. They're still going to have they still try to emphasize, yep, we're going to have exclusivity, everything like that. But he basically said case by case basis without saying case by case basis, and he left the door open. Phil's a smooth talker, but that's basically he's basically confirming that we're going to see more Xbox games getting ported over in the future, especially if it's successful. Halo, yeah. So I know, according to Jeff Grubb, they specifically discussed Gears of War as something they would be porting over. So if I'm thinking which 4, yeah, Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Gears of War. That's either Gears of War or Halo. I'm as the 4th one. I'm saying Gears of War because Jeff Grubb directly heard Gears of War was what they were discussing. But based on what Phil said, Halo would technically fall under that description of how he was describing one of the games they're reporting. You know, it's been out for a while, it's had success, you know, it's run its course on multiple platforms. You know, the latest Halo wasn't as successful as they wanted, but yeah, it's basically run its course. It's a bigger game. Yeah, I think Halo or Gears and Hi-Fi Rush are going to be the real big splash. Hi-Fi Rush is like a no-brainer. I think it's going to be Halo or Gears. If it's Halo, if either one is going to send Xbox players raging. But I think I'm leaning Gears, but I think because we haven't had a Gears game in a while, Halo Infinite is a strong candidate. Or Palworld. Yeah, the thing is, Palworld isn't an Xbox game. That's the other thing, because it's not exclusive. Palworld just ended up coming up through PC and Xbox, but it wasn't a game developed by Xbox. The 4th wasn't revealed. They didn't reveal any of them, but Phil Spencer just confirmed that 4 of their games are going to be ported over to other platforms. So that's going to be PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch, but he just wouldn't say which 4. You know, he tried to maintain that, you know, they're still committed to, you know, exclusives, but, you know, when they talked about exclusives, they really emphasized the Game Pass element of that, and they left the door open for future Xbox games to be ported over, because based on the parameters that he gave, any of the upcoming Xbox games could end up being over. The only games he said by name were Starfield, Indiana Jones, but he also left that open. Like, it could change in the future. They don't have, maybe they're not doing it now, but in the future, yeah, Starfield hasn't been out that long. But yeah, in like a year or two, I think we could definitely hear about Starfield coming over. But Halo, I think it's going to be Halo. I think it's going to be Halo. If I'm putting odds on there, the best odds I'd say is going to be Halo, Pertinent, Pentiment, Halo, Sea of Thieves, and Hi-Fi Rush. Those are going to be the four. I think those are going to be the four. You said 2 are community driven, so likely multiplayer. The other 2 are small budget or smaller games. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, Halo. That's what I'm going. That's my final answer. We're going to find out. He said soon. I'm guessing it'll be at the June Xbox showcase. If they don't announce it in the next couple, if they don't announce any of the games in the next couple of months, he said the developers that were working on these ports have their own plans. So I'm guessing it's going to be at the June Xbox showcase where they're going to announce this. If not, maybe before that, but I'd say probably the June showcase. It definitely makes sense though to not reveal them now, because obviously if the only reason they're doing this is because of rumors and leaks and everything like that. The devs who are working on those ports have their own plans to reveal, so yeah, definitely would make sense for him to like just let them cook and reveal in their own time, which will probably be at that showcase. Heck, it might be at the it might actually be at the PlayStation showcase, because I would imagine at an Xbox showcase they're just going to want to focus on selling people on the Xbox ecosystem, and aren't going to want to say, hey, by the way, I know you're here for the Xbox showcase, but this Xbox game is going to be on PlayStation. Like, no one watching an Xbox showcase wants to hear that. But a PlayStation showcase, which reportedly is happening in May, that makes sense. Like, imagine we're watching the PlayStation showcase and we get an ad for Halo or Hi-Fi Rush, and they're like, yeah, coming to PlayStation, it's like, coming to PlayStation 2024, Hi-Fi Rush, that makes sense. Summer Game Fest as well. I know, yeah, if I were in charge, yeah, I would definitely be on the side of, yeah, let's not do that at an Xbox event. I guess Diablo was the other update, but I don't care about Diablo coming to Game Pass. I don't care about Diablo at all. I see a lot of cope on Twitter right now. I don't think there were very many PlayStation players who were jumping for joy at the thought of playing Starfield. let's keep it a buck. Hi-Fi Rush deserves more players to experience the game, for sure. Like that's what I feel like is the no-brainer. Hi-Fi Rush, for sure, deserves a bigger audience. I've heard nothing but great things about the game, so it being able to come to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch sounds perfect. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but Indiana Jones, not that worried about it. We heard it could be a timed exclusive, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen at least initially. But we'll see what they say in a couple years. But yeah, I don't mind Indiana Jones. Like I say, I don't mind getting an Xbox as long as there's a reason to get the Xbox. Like, I don't care. If they have enough good games I'm interested in, and I know they're not coming to PlayStation, which we don't know now. We don't exactly know, but if for the case of Indiana Jones, if it's good enough, I definitely wouldn't mind picking up an Xbox. They're pretty cheap. Blade's not coming to PlayStation. You definitely don't know that. And based on Phil's comments, Blade coming to PlayStation is definitely on the table. Kevin Feige told you Blade day one PlayStation Plus. That checks out. Yeah, I think Blade, I would not be surprised if Blade ends up dropping on PlayStation. I would not be surprised at all. But yeah, like I said before it even started, I wasn't expecting like a huge, shift. Like I was like, I literally said that. I was like, people are like kind of overreacting, and like, oh, this is going to be a huge, this potentially be a huge thing. It's like, oh, they're going to have all. No, I'm like, no, they're probably going to announce a few games. I said they probably shouldn't be too vague, which they were to a degree. They definitely left the door open for future ports, but Phil Spencer just saying straight up, yeah, we're doing 4 games. We're porting over 4 games. We're not telling you what. That gives at least people the clarity to know that there's not going to be more than 4 at least this year, but not knowing which ones specifically, except for it not being Starfield or Indiana Jones, is definitely, leaving a cloud of uncertainty. But I imagine we'll find out soon which 4 games they are. If they don't announce it first, probably going to leak, like everything else has so far. So the Xbox leaks have been crazy. I would not be surprised if in like a day or two we have like all the Tom Henderson and Jeff Grubb have like the full list of Xbox games coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. So far they're pretty confident that Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment is definitely one of them. Sea of Thieves is another very strong candidate, and I'm personally going to go Halo or Gears. Probably Halo. But that was cool. Well, I'm not worried about it. There's a ton of games to keep me busy. I'm just waiting for more Xbox games. I was curious because I was thinking of getting an Xbox, but yeah, I have enough games to play already as is. And honestly, if I got an Xbox, I'd probably just be playing Fable 2 right now anyway. So we'll see what they do. I'm looking forward to the summer showcases. I'm looking forward to the PlayStation showcase in May. Should be exciting. All right, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go chill, get some work done. Appreciate everyone hanging out. I'll catch y'all next time. There is a major event in gaming. Definitely check out the podcast tomorrow. We're going over that. I'm looking for a guest host, but we should still have the podcast on the after show podcast. I'm Sadot the Gamer signing out.